You're right. He is hideous.
Oh,
Space.
Shit.
Oh, wait. Podcasting. A poor man's career. These are the conversations of the Alpha Podrants. It's continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out
Showed my face.
critical analyses and weird things, to
That's all I know.
boldly talk where no one has talked before. This is the Alpha Podrants. Yes, this is Alpha Podrants. It's Alpha Podrants, Podrants. Yeah, there you go. Hi, everybody. Okay.
Hi, Luke.
Hi. Alpha Podrants, everyone.
Hi.
I wasn't
Hello,
doing anything
everyone.
weird. I was just blowing into my whistle. That's all that happened there.
Oh, that's all you're doing?
Yeah.
Let's do this right. Hey, everybody. I'm your main captain host, I guess. You know, I set this whole crazy thing up, and I don't know how it's going, but I'm Luke. Hi.
Well, you're a little too excited, I'll say. That's how.
Or John.
Then this guy, Jim,
Grindle.
the crazy Jim Grindle, the Spectre, the one who we
The
don't
nice
know
boy.
about, the one that we don't trust. No one should ever. That's what I've heard.
Don't these eyes look innocent? Okay.
And of course, Charles Wheaton.
Mastermind.
Hi.
Oh, sorry to disturb
Charles.
you. Are you ready? Are you ready?
The true man
And-
behind the curtain.
We have also the Grandpapia podcast.
Hi. Didn't see you guys
Richard
there. Hi.
Kish. Kish Army member right here, number 77722.
I'm number 666. I was so tempted to just pull them out like they do when men are talking and say, that was great, Mr. Kish. But, of course,
Goodbye.
just a little,
All right.
a little branding for their program. Men Are Talking of the fantastic show on the Shuli Network, who
That's
is
right.
trending in the United States right now on Twitter.
What?
Really?
Shuli Network
That's
is?
right. The Shuli Network is trending.
Dude, that whole stuff with Stuttering John coming back and everything, I mean, that's what they needed
Yeah.
for a pop, really. I thought it was all over, but this is everyone else getting an introduction to it, I think. So
Yeah. Well, Shuli finally going mano a mano with John yesterday. I think probably just the numbers just knocked them right up there.
Well, I guess we better get Stuttering John in this podcast to talk about
Yeah.
Star Trek. I mean, he's
Sure.
a big old numbers getters, and
does he like it? We could.
I have no joke
ask
there. I was trying to do something self-depreciating, but everything I say gets taken very seriously on the internet, and I realized
Oh,
I can't even be facetious, But in space,
space.
nobody can hear me at all.
You scream.
So,
Yeah. They can hear you scream.
it's better out there.
So
Someone
now
can
that
hear
you're
me scream.
here,
that would be really nice, wouldn't it?
Mr. Kish,
Yeah.
I guess we'll grill you. We'll ask you the standard questions.
I'll answer
And
as
the
many
first-
as I can.
The first thing that I asked everybody, what's your favorite series and or character? Well, both. What's your favorite part of Star Trek and what's your favorite character?
That's a good. I think, in my heart of hearts, I think my favorite series will always be Deep Space Nine, and even though people go, well, it's kind of a bottle theory because you don't leave the space station. Well, they came up with the war, they came up with the Defiance, so they came up with enough things to keep you interested at this point.
Mhm.
They brought Worf over, so there were they did a lot of good things there. But
And not to interrupt while interrupting, but it isn't all of Star Trek a bottle fucking situation. You're always on a ship.
you're always on a ship, yeah.
So you're
not-
going to other planets, but in Deep Space Nine, the other planets are coming to you and in abundance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. And I mean, they did end up going to like some other planets. It was just those other planets were in the Gamma Quadrant.
Sometimes they were over near Cardassia. They were
That
in
is
like
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. They
Cardassian
also went
space.
to Bajor a couple of times.
Oh yeah, they went to Bajor quite a few times. Sometimes
Yeah.
to find people, old people, or move people. There was one episode where Kira had to they were trying to build something, and she just had to get this guy to move, and he wouldn't. And
Yeah, I was just thinking about that episode. That was a good episode.
Oh
too.
yeah, they just showed that if you're a big Star Trek fan, like I said, for years they were showing the original series and the Next Generation on Pluto TV. They recently had started showing Voyager, which they had never done before. They just recently got rid of Voyager, and now they're showing Deep Space Nine, which they also never did before. So if you want to catch up on episodes, and they just showed the episode you're talking about with it was with Brian Keith from Family Affair, which was Jim might remember that from growing up. That's a series from the '60s with Sebastian Cabot and Brian Keith, where he was raising.
I do remember it, but just so those. I wasn't alive in the '60s. I want to be clear. I repeat, it's a false rumor, but I do remember the show from Nick at Night.
Let's see. Have you been watching from the very beginning?
Not on Pluto, but I mean, I've watched Deep Space. I've watched Deep Space. Yeah, I've watched the series probably once or twice over in cycle over the past. Well, Amazon used to carry it for nothing. Amazon Prime. Now you can only go to Paramount Plus, which I currently don't have the script for.
Before your next
so it
question,
got removed from Netflix? Because whenever I watched it, it was on Netflix.
Yeah, I don't get Netflix anymore, but I think it was moved from Netflix. Amazon Prime carried it for a bit. You can catch the episodes, I think, on either, but now it's only Amazon Plus.
Oh,
you can
Paramount
see,
Plus, but
Paramount Plus, but the movies aren't there anymore. Now those are on HBO Max, so there's a little bit of a switch up. But I wanted to say I'm mad about the Pluto Deep Space Nine because now Next Generation is in place of where I would normally just find my TOS, which is what I like to watch.
Right.
But
that one channel they switch it back and forth though. So like I said, they'll go back to the original series eventually. But
eventually. But I was just getting into it, man, because it's you could never not laugh. I feel when you put on that show. Watch it as a comedy if you. Like Charles won't watch it because it's too dated for him. Watch it as a fucking comedy, and you're gonna have a blast.
Never too dated. This was the original the original DVD package when it came out. They were 3 colors. It was yellow, blue, and red for each of the different uniform shirts.
Yeah. Well, look, I tried to give the original series a chance. Like there was a time like about 5 or 6 years ago, I tried to do a straight shot marathon of all the Star Trek content, all the shows, all the movies. I was going to do it all in order. And I started with the original series. I made it to about halfway through the first episode of the original series, and I was like, nope, too dated.
That's Pike. And that is super dated. That's a fucking pilot, that they like strung together.
It's just, part. I mean, I have seen the Trouble with Tribbles episode before. I have seen that before. I saw that years ago. I think I was like a teenager at the time when I saw that episode.
You're also connected.
It wasn't even a part of a box set. It was like a standalone like VHS tape that it was on, and my dad put it in the VCR and was like, "Hey, let's watch this episode. It's a classic episode." I'm like, okay, whatever.
Is that a Tribble?
They don't like Klingons.
And
I don't like Klingons.
I thought it was okay. I didn't hate the episode.
You're connected with that because of DS9 too, when they had that.
There was
jump
that
back
episode, which I liked. That episode. That episode was cool.
It was a neat way to integrate, bring back Trouble with Tribbles, and to show Worf being afraid of a Tribble is so hilarious.
I did watch that episode.
Was he actually afraid, or did he just be pissed off by it?
He was just kind of like, ugh, disgusted.
Yeah, he was
disgusting creatures.
Well,
yeah.
And then Worf being asked to. Well, then Worf being asked to explain also about the early Klingons from the original series, him saying it's a long story, rather not go into it right now.
Well, you were just saying, I think, that you saw the episode with the older Klingons, right?
Yes, and they were all in the original. Exactly. Yeah, that was great. Yeah, because Michael and Sarah died, I think, in the early 2000s, and
George
Campbell.
Michael from Arrested Development was a Klingon. Never mind.
Yeah.
Michael Sarah joke. It was a bad one.
And Campbell, like I said, besides playing Koloth, was also the Squire of Gothos. He was fucking great in that.
Oh,
Hey,
you're right. You're
look,
Yeah. Oh, he was great, man. Campbell was great.
these guys
those the
don't
same
look so
actors
bad.
as
Yes, they
well?
are.
Yep. These are all.
You're
I know,
right.
it's,
They
I buy
have
the jump
ridges.
here. I buy
There's-
the fucking jump.
They have little ridges in their
Absolutely.
forehead. You can see it with
Yep.
just makeup, but it's there.
Absolutely, it was there in the shading, which is what
They just didn't have.
And
They
Dorian's
like
they
he
did the same.
wanted. Gene Roddenberry wanted the below part, but he couldn't get it in the '60s, so he settled for a couple of lines.
I don't know.
heavier
I think he
brow.
was trying to go a little slopey with the foreheads, if you know what I mean. Like he
Yeah.
wanted to have a forehead slope.
Sort of
but
like
I mean, they managed to
Mongoloid.
explain away the original Klingons in
Mongolian.
Enterprise because was supposedly a virus going around, and to treat it, they needed to use some sort of DNA that took the ridges away. So that's how they kind of explained away the cranial ridges that you saw in the original series. It was a phase that they were going through.
Yep.
We'll never explain. I don't think there's ever going to be a good explanation for the
No,
Discovery
there'll never be.
Klingons. But at least
Well, let's
we're back to the bottom row now. These guys.
Yeah.
let's stay here for a second because you were also saying, Kish, that you had watched Discovery and it got a couple of episodes in and you stopped.
I watched the first season and I started getting that, oh God, this is going to be, it'll be character centric, which is what it developed eventually. You know, as I said, the black female captain, it became kind of centric around her. And none of the Star Trek series had really been character centric. I mean, yeah, the captain's the captain, but yeah, exactly. It became very centric around her character.
Michael Burnham, Spock's
yeah.
sister.
And I was getting taste of wokeness, but I was swallowing hard saying, all right. But the fact that everyone had an agenda they had to prove, political or sexual or whatnot, which I don't think they ever used to take and push as much in the older series.
It's
in some
there.
way, but for the time they did, they just pushed boundaries on all sorts of things back then, politically,
Well, you're right, because they
sexually.
pushed the racial kiss too, which I guess would have, you could
At the
look as
time
being-
was something monumental.
Lucille Ball
So-
and Desi Arnaz. I mean, it's their show
yeah.
from the start, and they're an interracial couple.
Yeah.
They're the real first. I mean, think of the history of Star Trek and its wokeness. You've got all the way back to I Love Lucy when those two just being married on screen was a huge fucking deal. And then they're championing of this property that represented space, the Federation, a united peoples beyond just peoples, the idea of unity. So Star Trek was always woke, I think, but as somebody who Discovery might be like, look, season 2 is horrible. I fucking hate most of season 2, but when they go 1,000 years in the future, it becomes probably the best Star Trek
Isn't
for a
that-
while. Saru is one of the best Star Trek characters.
All right.
And,
I love Saru. Yeah, he's pretty. Well, what about this though? We were talking about Klingons as well. So what?
I already said they'll never explain it away.
wild.
Let's not talk about it. Let's just forget about that.
Volk. My name is Volk.
Although I feel in the Section 31 movie, and that there was, I could see, get off now.
Well,
You
at
didn't do a
least
good job.
you covered
You
it.
fuck
So.
want some Joshua? If you guys ever seen the movie Troll 2 at the end when when the trolls are eating Joshua's mother, that's what her nipples looked like on the table. They were made of vegetables in that movie.
Okay.
A quick announcement.
That's good to know.
I have a game here for everybody tonight. That,
Quick what?
A quick announcement.
What?
Shut the fuck up. There's a few rounds here of a game called the SS Showdown.
Yay!
The SS Showdown?
Yes, it stands for Starfleet Strategy Showdown. And in this game,
Wow.
why? What else could it have stood for?
Was this supposed to be prove what you know?
Nope. For instance, let's just do round 1 right now, real quick.
Okay, I'm good.
Hold on.
Okay. What a fucking cocksucker.
No,
What
it's
is
too
it?
late.
You
Sorry, never
fat
mind. I
piece of
can't do it
shit.
now. I can't do it now because you already said it. No,
What
wait.
is- Announcement!
Everyone, that is an announcement.
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 Yeah, really, it was already announced, so it's a little bit
Wow.
more difficult. No, here it is. Here's the game. The simple rules are, let's see. How could I read? Let's see. Okay. I will present a scenario, based on a Star Trek mission. Each player is a Starfleet captain. Each one of us is a captain of whatever. So we each are a part of this scenario. And you come up with your strategy. You tell me the strategy. I will input it, and the robots will judge who is the winner. So here we go. Quick round one. Encounter with the Talaran Swarm. Talaran Swarm. They are jihadist aliens, I assume. As captain of the USS Intrepid, you receive a distress call from a Federation outpost on the outskirts of the Talaran system. They report an imminent threat of a Talaran swarm, an aggressive insectoid species known for their relentless attacks. Your ship arrives in the system to find the outpost under heavy assault from the Talaran swarm. Well, what do you do? Consider the scenario, come up with a strategic plan, and we gotta. Yeah, apparently a bunch of insects are killing a fucking outpost, a Federation outpost. Yep, that's what's happening. They're under attack by a swarm. I'm gonna get a big old can of Space Raid. All right, so Jim says I'm gonna get a big old can of Space Raid, and I'm going to what am I gonna do? I'm going to
I'm gonna pull
bugs.
I'm gonna pull a scenario out of J.J. Abrams' book, and bugs, like when they fly, they use their antennae to be able to determine where they go and what like to be able to find where they need to go. So I would assume that they have some kind of antennae or some kind of system that communicates with each other to allow their swarm to do what they need to do. So I would, what I would do is I would emit some kind of signal that would disrupt their communication within the swarm to sort of not really defeat them, but disable them, allowing you to pick them off and basically take out most of the swarm to where what is left can be easily taken out while they go retreat and get reinforcements or something. That is my strategy.
All right.
I was gonna go photon torpedoes all the way. So I mean, man, that really, you really thought about it.
Damn the torpedoes.
Photon torpedoes are not going to work because you just shoot the torpedo into the middle of the swarm and they just move out of the way.
I was thinking you could try to do like almost like a shockwave thing. Try to around them, do some sort of shockwave that might knock them out. Something like that. I mean, if they're a swarm of
shockwave could work, yeah. It does. It would do the same thing that I suggested.
Yeah. So you're going to do a shockwave.
Shockwave.
So you just want to
Shockwave.
I got it. All right. And Richard Kish, how would you destroy these bugs attacking this Federation outpost?
Absolutely no idea. So I would probably try to call in an expert now.
I love it.
If these are insectoids and they're Zindi and they're insectoids, maybe I should call in Jonathan Archer, and maybe he's had more experience with the insectoids. And
if Scott Bakula shows up, I'm only going to say one thing to him: thanks for ruining the franchise, Bakula.
Everyone,
you didn't like it. You didn't like Enterprise?
It was okay.
Oh man, you're a communist, Charles.
I would say
Scott Bakula.
Oh boy!
Leave Scott Bakula. You didn't like? Oh man.
Look, I mean,
Oh, boy.
I thought it was okay. I mean, I thought the temporal Cold War was all right. When it got to the Zindi conflict,
That was
what-
great.
when it got to the Zindi conflict, I was really invested. I liked that story arc.
Yeah.
I just didn't like how the show ended.
How do you spell Bacula, with just a K or is it a CK?
It was terrible. They had the second to
K.
last episode that was the
Bakula.
holodeck one, which sucked. And then they had the very last episode that had Weller in it, Peter Weller. Remember that?
I don't remember that. No.
He basically was a radical order that had a base on the moon that was opposing aliens on Earth, and they were opposing T'Pol, a Vulcan and human hybrid together. And that was T'Pol and Trip. That whole thing, and that's how they ended. It just ended kind of like right there. It was they did a terrible job of ending it after a great season 3 with the Zindi, and then they went back in time and fought the Nazis. I remember that too. Yeah, it's.
I hear a lot of people want a continuation, Nazis. And they're talking about a continuation in the back rooms. But all right, here's what I got so far. Jim, his solution here. Jim says, I'm going to get a big old can of Space Raid and kill all the bugs and make it with a sexy damsel who I saved from the swarm. Charles says, Charles assumes they have some sort of antenna to communicate, so he will transmit a signal to disrupt their communication ability while the Intrepid saves the day. Luke wants to do a shockwave around them. And Kish says Kish has no idea and wants to call in an expert. Perhaps Jonathan Archer. Charles will yell at him and say, thanks for rooting the franchise. Bakula, who wins this round and why? Let's see what the robots have to say. In evaluating this, here is the assessment of each player's plan. Jim, while this approach may be amusing, it deviates significantly. Sorry, fucking teacher. It deviates significantly from the strategic decision-making typically associated with Starfleet captains. Bullshit. Kirk done fucked all the damsels.
Oh, man.
Therefore, Jim sucks. They kicked me out of Starfleet. Okay, so Charles. Your approach demonstrates strategic thinking and aligns with the principles of using technology and diplomacy. Fuck you, Charles. It acknowledges the need to neutralize the threat while considering nonviolent means. Charles' response reflects a more strategic and Starfleet-like approach. Fuck you, robot. Luke says using a shockwave to deal with the Tellurian swarm can be an effective tactical maneuver. However, the response lacks sufficient detail to evaluate its strategic viability. Luke, you also suck and are kicked out of Starfleet. Kish, this response of calling in an expert, specifically Jonathan Archer, it shows that you have an awareness of seeking advice and expertise from experienced individuals, which is a valid strategic choice.
Never be afraid to go to someone else who knows more than you.
Yeah. However, Charles yelling at Kish and criticizing Jonathan Archer detracts from the cooperative and supportive atmosphere typically fostered in Star Trek scenarios. Therefore, Charles is also kicked out of Starfleet, and Richard Kish wins. Okay, I lied. I added that part in because it's a much better punchline, but actually the next thing says, based on the assessment of all, Charles's approach of disrupting the swarm wins. Therefore, congratulations, young piece of shit.
Nice job, Charles. Nice job. That's wonderful.
Congratulations. All right, back to the conversation. We'll have another round of this.
So I'm the big loser now. He won trivia, and he won this one, and now, or no, you won this one. Wait, yeah, Charles won because you were kicked out. Yeah. No, you weren't kicked out. That's right. That was fake. I can't remember. But of the people on the show, I've lost everything. Thank you. No. I am a loser. You guys are right out there. See?
You're right. Stop crying about it, and then we might get a third round in, and then you might actually be the winner of this game.
Exactly. Oh, so since we were talking about Archer and the show Enterprise, we were mentioning the other night, that episode we saw was a 2-person episode. They have to figure something out. But so one of my favorite episodes of Enterprise is this one here, Shuttle Pod 1.
That was
from Enterprise,
great.
Season 1, Episode 16. In 2002, these two get stuck on a shuttle pod. They go to a rendezvous point that Enterprise is supposed to go to, and they don't show up on time, and they don't know what. And they start running out of power, and they have whiskey to warm themselves up and a couple of blankets. So you get a nice connection between these two. This is when they become best friends. They were at odds in the first season because, Trip is Archer's like best friend that he brought in, or whatever, someone he knew, and then Malcolm is this guy that just is like kind of uptight, but also kind of crude and weird. So Trip doesn't know how to take him. When they do this episode, they get to know each other, and it's just, man, some good acting in that episode. Really,
it was a really good episode.
They're in despair. They don't know what to do. But they're also drunk, and it goes all over the place, that one. So it's one of my favorites.
Trip constantly busting his balls because he's a little gullible about shit too. So that was pretty funny.
Yep. Have I ever said that my favorite part is when T'Pol gets into decontamination? I have said this before.
Oh,
yes, I'm sure you have. I don't have that GIF in here. Damn it.
We all look forward to that.
Oh, and another one. We were also talking about this one here.
Oh yeah, that's
Extreme Measures.
I know it's not gonna happen, but
guess what, Charles? I know that's Bashir now. I learned it today because I was watching it on.
Know that was Bashir?
Because I didn't watch.
It was Bashir and Miles inside his brain.
Siddig.
Yeah.
What's his name?
I watched the Mirror Universe
Alexander
episode
Siddig.
crossover. I watched that just before this, and that's how I learned that him and O'Brien are besties.
Yeah, but how did you not know that guy was Bashir?
Because I didn't watch it like that.
Okay.
Did you see him? Do you remember him from Game of Thrones?
Or Gotham?
Yes, I remember him from Gotham. He played
Ra's al Ghul.
That's right, Ra's al Ghul. Yeah, he was great.
This is a great point, Richard Kish, because you brought up the woke thing with the stuff. While I do see many of these woke characteristics, I don't see agenda characteristics, unlike Gotham, where I tuned out the moment they had that fucking sexy lesbian kiss in like episode 2. I was like, nope, I'm fucking done. This is a show that is like kind of for families, kind of for kids, whatever. And it's not, I don't care.
Yeah.
Show gays all day. Show the two people's kissing. I don't care. I don't care. But when you do it in that 1990s Cinemax steamy music, let's elicit boners kind of way, you're now pushing an agenda. You're selling homosexuality as opposed to protecting people's rights to be whatever kind of fucking weirdos they want to be.
They kind of did that on Discovery too a bit. They kind of pushed the gay agenda a little bit on
But it wasn't sexy.
It
was mostly boys kissing. Definitely not sexy Kish. You want to,
No, I know what it could be.
Yeah. Again, though, Kish, that kiss right there was very well deserved. That man had just come back from being dead for like a year.
I guess Will can't believe it.
All right, enough of this. I'm getting a boner.
You know what?
Space boner. They're gonna kiss. They're gonna kiss. Oh.
You know what? Point taken. Point made. Because, like I said,
stop showing it.
Yeah, because I saw that episode with Dax and the
Toby.
Dax. You saw Dax and Luke's terrible.
I can't remember her name, but I know what episode you're talking about. It's the symbionts. The symbionts in their bodies. They were mates originally.
Right. They were man woman, and all of a sudden there's two women.
Two.
So right. Yeah.
Those two.
Yeah, and according to Trill culture, the symbiotes are not supposed to interact with mates from previous hosts.
But also, see, when you showed that, like, Wesley, you showed me licking my lips off on the side. I thought no one was looking. I was licking at that.
It's a pretty big taboo in their culture. It's like a big no-no.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because once I think they switched hosts, they're supposed to split and not see each other again. You're right. Right.
Yeah. They're not
No,
Because
one
it
of
gets
the last
awkward. Yeah.
one of the last episodes of Deep Space Nine I just saw was when a guy shows up who's a Trill, and he wants to take Jadzia's Trill.
I remember
Then they
that
go and they
episode. That was
Netflix
pretty
and
early
Trill.
in the show's run.
That was early. Yep.
That character actor too. I remember the guy who played
John Glover.
Yes, ding ding ding.
Was
ding,
it him?
ding.
Wow.
John Glover.
Man.
Yeah.
John Glover.
How
Look at
dare
that.
you question Charles Whedon, Lucas?
John, no, Charles nailed
Computer.
it.
Look, I'm good with names. I'm very good with
I'm
names.
terrible.
Better
with
than
them.
I am.
I'm
I'm terrible with names.
Yo, a Game of Thrones season, whatever the final season was, I still didn't know those motherfuckers' names. I barely could tell you that the.
Quark.
I called the one guy the Onion guy. That's all I know.
Okay, in that poster, what the fuck is going on with Quark's nose?
It is a little sliced up, very
That is
wide.
serious.
little
There is
wide.
something. There is
that's
something
about right.
wrong with that Ferengi's nose.
It's lighting, I guess, in that case.
Yeah. Wow.
That's the way they
Well, look at
shaded it.
Worf's ridges. They're like pointing all the way up.
Yeah.
Worf's ridges look fine, except for that part because it's just like no. But yeah.
Old Worf.
Old Worf. The ridges just don't last.
No,
as
no,
well,
no.
right?
What's
Yeah.
wrong with that is that Worf became a pacifist. That's my problem.
Oh yeah.
Well, he's
Come on.
still, although
A
he
pacifist.
still fought. He would
He
fought if he needed to.
still fought, yeah, but he felt bad about it afterwards.
I think that fits who he is. He's a civilized person born from the Rashenkos. Fucking
Oh my
his
God.
son
So have you
Alexander
watched-
Rashenko went off to become like some kind of fucking warlord or something. So he's
Something
certainly
like that.
yeah, like he's got his struggles. It makes sense with the character, I think.
I
Have
don't
you
know.
watched any of this, Richard? You were going to say the first
no
season?
but I want to because Amazon Prime now has the first season available, the whole first season. So now I can take and
nice.
watch that and play catch up.
Well, you better tie your
Sweet.
beard up and get ready to have your wig blown off.
Okay,
Because-
then we will
no,
be
because-
careful not
because-
to say anything about season 2.
That was the one thing that gave me hope in the first season I watched of Discovery was that Pike tangent in the and I said, wow, this would make a great series. Well, sure enough, they
I think
fucking
everyone
replaced
did.
it.
I like the actor that played
Everybody
Pike
did.
too. I
Yes.
really like the actor that
It
played Pike.
replaced it.
And
Dude.
the other thing I'll say about the Pike series, it's a different production staff and direction staff than there's Kurtzman, who I'm not thrilled with because I think he has done more damage than help at this point. But there's someone else involved with Strange New Worlds and
Goldsmith or something.
and they said that it was going to be
was that it?
a lot more like the old feel that the Star Trek series had.
It
at this
is.
point, so.
And while you said you only really liked Pike from that Discovery appearance, I was the same way. I thought he was cool.
have Pike.
Number one was pretty irrelevant, kind of just there. But
Yeah.
I hated Spock with the beard, and I just thought he was terrible. Now,
In Discovery. I see.
Now
Right,
in Strange
right.
New Worlds, this Spock, Ethan Peck, in my opinion, gives Leonard Nimoy a fucking run for the money.
He does.
Oh, yeah?
I liked his portrayal, and I like his portrayal of Spock. You know, I think he stays true to the feel of that character at this point because he's playing a Vulcan, but he's playing a character that already has a personality, a history, whatnot. So it's
Yeah, he very much is familiar. Like, and the guy over there, Mbenga, you might have seen him on the original series as well. Stop that, Luke, you piece of shit. That's not even that's from a short Trek. It don't count. It don't count. And the Kirk. Wait till you get to Kirk. That's all I gotta say.
maybe my
I mean,
other
if
problem.
you've seen the internet, you know Kirk is back, right?
Maybe my other problem is one of the characters on Strange New Worlds giving her I want to say a 21st century haircut with the fade on that, and I'm guessing aren't they kind of guessing? Well, would that be the hairstyle in the future?
Well, I can explain that to you very easily. The same
You mean
reason
her? Or no?
No. Talking about Martinez. The same reason for and for USSS or USS and everything else. They use a lot of naval stuff because Starfleet is an evolution of our military.
Now, is that a naval cut?
It's some sort of. She's just using a traditional, like retro style military cut. She's just one of those people.
All right.
They've given us plenty of retro people. Like number
that's...
one likes to listen to what's those show tunes she listens to. Spock was making fun of her during her trial about it.
Gilbert
wasn't making fun. That was
Gilbert and Sullivan.
That's
great.
That was from the short trek. That
wow.
And when they were in the elevator,
but he was making fun of her for it.
He was just saying that was the thing she was hiding from him. Her love of
right, because it's embarrassing, hence making fun. Jesus Christ, don't you understand how Vulcans fucking joke?
Yeah, I guess that's how they joke. I don't.
Just like Fennel jokes by constantly rubbing his butthole in Charles's face.
Vulcans have very dry senses of humor.
Yeah.
Oh, they're British.
Yep,
exactly.
Pretty much.
Exactly.
Uptight Brit. No emotion.
No Medium Roast says, "Hello, Kish. Show's terrible, but they're glad you're here." Well,
hey,
it's very nice of you to say about Mr. Oh God, what? Explain this now, Luke. What is this? Why was Kirk making this fake? What? You think those teeth are fake already, or are those his real teeth? That's dentures. That's totally dentures. I can see those gums.
The bottom ones are stained.
So he literally said, "Give me vampire teeth."
You can see the silver in one of them, though. Look in the bottom on the his left side.
The bottoms are real. The bottoms are real.
But the top is popped in.
Look at those gums. They don't.
So this is an early episode where I believe Kirk gets split.
The transporter splits him in half, and there's a good Kirk and a bad Kirk. Yeah.
Oh, this is when he's all horny and weird, and he has a big old rage boner. Yeah, because he got drunk right there, and then he had that right there. If you would have zoomed out from that last shot, he was.
He had a rage boner right here.
Yeah.
I'm a nasty mother.
Look. I'm just gonna say in that.
And that's the guy he was trying to chase with his rage boner. I will not. I will not.
In that picture with him making that face, it looks like he's trying to take a mean shit.
Yeah, he's trying to shit his cock into that guy's mouth.
No, that picture there looks like he's trying to shit glass. That looks painful.
Yeah. Oh, oops.
Like, there you go. Someone call for a doctor?
No, I keep saying this, Kish. I'm so excited for Bones on Strange New Worlds.
Yes.
Wait, are we getting Bones now?
We have to eventually. We've got to finish the fight. As I said to these guys on our last episode, they must reboot the original series because this is a 50-year franchise that has begun with something that's incomplete. They never completed the 5-year mission. We never got Star Trek Phase 2. So the fucking franchise is incomplete as it stands, and it needs to be completed.
Phase 2. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
They had it ready. They wanted to do it, but they just didn't get it done.
Fans made them with Star Trek stars, so you can actually see the scripts or at least interpretations of scripts. But yeah, it's out there.
I mean, it's possible that we could end up getting a reboot, like a retelling of the original series. It's very possible.
If we don't, I quit Star Trek. I'll tell you right now.
Oh, I highly doubt that.
But remember, I said last week, what if
Still watching Walking Dead. I don't quit anything.
Oh,
what if they skipped a whole bunch? Like they ended Strange New Worlds and they started Star Trek again, or whatever. Star Trek
again.
So what you're saying is that if I understand you correctly, you're saying they redo Star Trek the original series, and then they'll just do a refresh of all the other Star Trek shows, like Next Generation, Deep Space Nine.
Well,
Voyager.
That's what they're. I mean, I don't know if I have any pictures of it, but remember.
Abrams
oh
movie.
my God! Look, I don't want them redoing Deep Space Nine. Avery Brooks was perfect as Sisko.
Exactly.
I can't see anybody else being on his level. I can't.
Well, it's like, do they continue with the timeline? Well, they're going to do a new Next Generation in this timeline with him, right? With the Picard's son, maybe. what were they going to call it?
Yeah, but
Patrick
that's
Stewart. I doubt it. I don't think Patrick Stewart's coming back.
No, he's not going to show up.
He'll be in an admiral position, but they are rebooting the Next Generation cast already. It's supposedly secretly under wraps for that J.J. Abrams Star Trek 4. They're rebooting the TNG cast in that movie. My theory is that's just like how they bridged the Prime universe with the Abrams
have
verse.
To do it because Anton Yelkin is dead.
Right.
So you're saying that they're going to take the old cast and
let me just finish my sentence, you fruitcake.
Okay.
They're going to take Spock, like how they took Spock and transitioned from Prime timeline to Abrams verse. Then they're going to transition back from Abrams verse to Prime timeline with this new rebooted, younger Next Generation cast. That's my theory.
No.
So it's not even going to be the Kelvin timeline anymore?
Kelvin, whatever. Abrams verse. I don't know what the fuck
it's going to be Kelvin, but it's going to be the Next Generation in the Kelvin time.
In the movie. But I'm saying they're going to use this cast to launch a reboot of the Next Generation in the Prime timeline.
Oh, so they're just going to use the same actors for the Next Generation reboot TV show.
That's my theory.
Your theory sucks.
That would be so crazy. I can't even. Wow.
That'd be wild, man.
That would be messed up. Yeah, he's a monster. This guy. You can't even be around him. He will fuck your brain up. And you'll follow him.
Clearly,
it's
look
like
what's
that.
Happened just now. You just fucking broke in the middle of nowhere, you psycho.
Aren't there insects that get on the back of like another animal and they like zombify them and then they control them?
Listen, you guys took out the insect swarm on the Taliban planet. You saved the Federation outpost in that round. So
you're welcome. My pleasure.
Let's save Luke from himself.
Excuse me.
What were we in the middle of talking about? Because he's being so fucking weird now.
Sorry. I took 2 gummies before this.
The only thing that I'm fairly certain they're going to be doing in regards to the new upcoming shows is they are doing a show with the new characters that were introduced in Picard Season 3, and they're going to call it, and I am calling this now, they're going to call it something across the lines of Star Trek, The New Generation.
No, they're not. That's ridiculous. They want to
come
call it
on.
Legacy.
It sounds like the new Coke to me there, Charles.
You're not on Twitter, so you should know, Charles, that all of Twitter is calling it The New Generation.
New Generation.
The showrunner's calling it Legacy.
Why? There is a video game
Legacy.
called Star
They
Trek
don't
Legacy.
care.
Another Legacy
Obviously
or
not.
Legacy 2.
The
I just can't wait
creators
for
of the
that
video
show,
games can
for
file
sure.
lawsuit.
Hey, Warner Brothers changed the name of a film to take and promote a candy bar, so nothing surprises me at all.
They can buy them out, and actually, it would be a bad look if they didn't sell it to
goddamn
them
it.
for like a good.
Well,
my
the
mic
funny
broken?
thing about that is that the Star Trek video game called
my
Star
mic
Trek
work?
Legacy, it sucked. It was a bad game.
Your mic works fine. You're frozen.
Not now.
Yeah,
You're frozen.
Fucking stupid.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you're gone.
Wow,
Wait,
that's
there you are.
magic.
It got horrible reviews. So
Hologram.
if they decide to call the show Star Trek Legacy, then maybe it's an attempt to redeem the name. I don't know.
Well, that's what I was thinking because the Legacy, the game, is considered canon, is it not? Didn't
That
they
I
do
don't
some
know.
Shit? I think it may have.
I never played the game. It was a long time ago. I mean, it was before I had a gaming PC.
Well, speaking of games, it's time for round 2 of our game.
boy.
The SS Showdown. That's right. Are you?
You need to come up with a different name,
I
dude.
think so.
Yeah,
I
really.
think so. All right.
Wait, do
here
we
go.
have an announcement? Is that what you said?
Nope. Nope.
No
Nope.
news.
Fine. Announce it already.
Oh, wait. Kiss!
You definitely took 2 edibles before this show. All right, round 2. This one is
Luke
called
looks so happy.
Anomaly Navigation. As captain of the starship USS Intrepid, you find yourself in a region of space known for its unpredictable anomalies. While exploring, your sensors detect a spatial anomaly directly in your path. The anomaly appears to be unstable and could pose a threat to the ship and crew. Now, as Starfleet captains, it is your responsibility to analyze the situation and propose. What are you going to do? Take into account factors such as crew safety, scientific exploration, risk assessment, and potential consequences of your decision. This time, your consequences will be read.
Full stop. Analyze the anomaly. And actually start to back up with impulse engines. And determine how far we need to get from this thing before it does something to the ship. And then get a safe distance away and try to analyze the situation further.
Okay. My strategy is full stop, raise shields, scan the anomaly. If the anomaly is moving towards the ship at an accelerated rate and is a clear threat, then maneuver the ship away. If it is not, hold position and observe.
Observe and report.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Richard Kish?
Well, kind of a combination of what Charles and Luke are looking at this point, but I'd be off a distance to begin with. You've got those long-range sensors. Put those to use at this point and make sure before you get too close that you're not going to get caught in some event horizon or whatever at this point. I don't. It depends on what it is. It could be. I don't know. Long-range sensors.
All right. Simply put.
And someone's saying
Simply
it's part
put.
of the game is part of beta canon. So no, it's not part of alpha canon. Alpha canon. Alpha Podrants. Alpha Podrants.
Now, Charles,
I got a
maybe you
song.
can explain to me a little bit of difference between you hear euphemism canon used, you hear Kelvin used. Now, these are different timelines.
Yes.
In essence, yeah.
In the Star Trek shows like original series, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, even Enterprise, that is all considered the prime timeline. So
Right.
that's all the main stuff. That is all the official canon.
Right.
In the J.J. Abrams movies, that is known as the Kelvin timeline.
That's the Kelvin timeline, gotcha.
Which is named after the ship that was destroyed at the beginning of the first movie by the Narada. That was called the USS Kelvin.
All right.
Which was piloted by George Kirk when he tried to ram the ship into the Narada to let the shuttles escape. And that's why that is called the Kelvin timeline.
Now, there's a George Kirk in the Kelvin timeline. Does he exist in any other timeline or just in the Kelvin timeline?
Oh, no. George Kirk he was alive in the prime timeline because he's he's James T. Kirk's father.
So he's always been Kirk's father. Okay.
Yes,
okay.
He has. It's just in the prime timeline, he lived to see James T. Kirk become captain of the Enterprise.
Right.
While in the Kelvin timeline, he didn't because he had to sacrifice himself to save everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we have the results in from round 2.
Thank you. All right, here we go.
I was no help.
Well, Kish, your suggestion of using long-range sensors from a safe distance and to assess all potential threats, including those beyond the anomaly, it's very comprehensive and is a successful outcome. Your long-range scans provides valuable data on the anomaly, allowing the crew to identify subtle subspace fluctuations nearby. The information helps them plot a course that avoids any potential threats beyond the anomaly's immediate vicinity.
Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah. Charles Whedon, you said you wanted a defensive approach, coming to a full stop, raising shields, and scanning the anomaly. You're also successful. The scans revealed the anomaly is indeed moving toward the ship at an accelerated rate, indicating potential danger. You make the decision to move the ship away from the anomaly, successfully avoiding a hazardous encounter. Luke, full stop, analyze, back up, impulse engines, assess further. What a weird plan. Well, it did prioritize crew safety and scientific investigation, but it was a bit of a pussy result. But it was successful. And
I'm sensitive, right? That's what we found out.
Right,
No.
you're a sensitive little girl. Clearly, the anomaly, it was actually a subspace rift, and it could have had a potential dangerous energy fluctuations. So your careful observations and assessments allowed you guys to determine a safe trajectory away. Now, Jim, his plan was to try to talk to it, and if it was rude, to fight it with karate and lasers. This outcome was unpredictable and potentially hazardous. The anomaly does not respond to Jim's communication attempts, and resorting to karate and lasers leads to unintended consequences which destroy the ship.
Nice.
So, based on the evaluation, Luke and Kish have demonstrated. Sorry about that. Kish says Luke and Charles have demonstrated strategic thinking aligned with Star Trek principles. It doesn't even mention you at all, and it says, however, due to the defensive nature of Charles' plans and his immediate response to the anomaly's behavior, Charles Whedon wins this round. Charles Whedon, congratulations on winning round 2 of the SS Showdown. Now there can't be a round 3. It's time to announce Charles Whedon is the king of the SS. King of the SS, Charles Whedon. You are all praise our ruler, Lord Charles.
I'm not worthy.
No, apparently not. Not even of a mention. I'm unpredictable
God
and
damn
hazardous.
it. You need to phrase that better. Oh, God.
Okay, you're Prince of the SS. I don't know. What do you want? Ambassador of the SS, okay? But anyway, moving...
Yes, ambassador.
He's an SS officer?
Yeah, he's an SS
officer.
Exactly. I see where it offended you now, the ass part. I get it now.
God
Richard Kish,
damn it.
Luke asked a question earlier, which we glossed over. Who is your favorite Star Trek character?
Favorite Star Trek?
If you say Abraham Lincoln, well, that's pretty funny.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you my 3 because I
Mark
can
Twain.
think of 3 off the top of my head. Mark Alamo as Gul Dukat was brilliant. He's just brilliant in the role from day one until the very end when he goes jumping into the fiery pit at the end and gets killed. Yeah, that was great. Garrick, played by Andrew Robinson, brilliant. Just another brilliant fucking actor. And let's see the third John Billingsley as Dr. Phlox.
I don't know any of these people.
Phlox.
I know all 3 of them.
Phlox
Jim.
is from Enterprise.
I know Garrick's name. What's Garrick from?
Garrick is from Deep Space Nine. He's
the
Kardashian.
guy with
he's a tailor. He was a
He
spy.
has the big collar a lot on.
He was a spy that was thrown
He was
into
always dressed
exile
very
on
nice.
the space station.
Okay, spy. Yeah, he's got that. Well, I guess but he has that like Dracula haircut almost, right? Like a widow's peak.
The haircut of the Cardassians, because they all have
They
that haircut.
do. I was wondering.
they all have that
But I know the
widow's
one
peak.
you're talking. I know who
And
Garrick
the spoon.
is.
They used to that's kind of like an N-word with them if you call them spoons. That kind of like I remember in one.
Yeah, they have a
episode,
little circle in their what would be a Klingon ridge. They have that almost like a third eye sort of weird thing.
But it's shaped like a spoon. I remember one episode where someone was using it in kind of like a derogatory sense, like those spoon heads. Like
a spoon head. I was just thinking, you said Phlox. That's right. I forgot. I didn't even have a picture of this. There was a Denobulan in the last episode of Strange New Worlds. Do you remember that?
Really?
In the very beginning, there was a little sequence where La'an.
I'll go looking for that.
La'an was going through her rounds of security, and Spock, was playing his instrument and stuff, and she had to stop him because there was a noise complaint, and she was checking on her with her heart.
Mr. Kish is Khan Noonien Singh's ancestor.
Oh, okay.
Yes, this girl here. I don't know if.
I remember that from Picard. Yeah, from Picard, right?
No, that's another one. She's
another one. Okay,
another one.
She's a newer one. She's the most, as Jim says, the hottest, most bangable girl on the new show, and he really wants her badly. And
I said she's the least unfuckable, is what I said. I said there's rough picking on this. That Nurse Chapel looks like my mother, and the rest of them are not attractive at all. You saw the haircut in that one girl, Mr. Richard Kish.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
Buried alive.
Khan is obviously the best looking one on the show.
The Wrath of Kish.
The Wrath of Kish.
Oh, shit, I should have named it that. Damn it. That was a way better name.
You are a stupid man.
I'm dumb.
Stupid.
Wrath of Kish. Come on. Why? I was busy today. So.
That's okay. You're so happy now, though. That makes me happy.
Good. That's what we're here for. We're here to make everybody happy. Who likes Star Trek and likes weird dudes talking about it.
Weird old men talking about a space show.
Charles Whedon, you're in a place where you're like a young boy once again, in comparison to us.
And all your little friends are here.
Spock from the original. So I was just watching, and I didn't finish it today, but the pilot for the original series, which, I've only seen probably once because I did watch the whole series all the way through. So I think it was there before. I watched it for
Discovery, to connect with that.
And if you watch The Cage in comparison to the Menagerie, which uses sections of it, The Cage you learn a lot more because they cut a lot of shit out of the episode using the Menagerie. So a lot more shit gets explained in The Cage.
Yeah, they're using little sections of it and they're analyzing it at the trials or whatever they're doing. Is that a trial? I think it is. Or just a debriefing or something?
The Menagerie thing was basically a ploy by Spock and Pike to get them to go back to Talos 4 to drop him off so he could take and live a life not looking like a burn victim.
He just live it inside of his mind.
He's in the mind
right
world, yeah.
Along with the
all right, so it's not such a horrible fucking. We're all looking at Strange
but
New
he
World,
doesn't know that. Pike doesn't know that
he doesn't
yet.
know that yet.
No, because that's later on.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't remember what I was watching, but I learned early on that this Pike sees his future and he sees himself getting burned, and that's all I can remember at this point. I don't know what it might have been. Discovery. I think he might have learned it because didn't they take a tangent in the first season of Discovery and they kind of explored that a little bit?
Well, they did a whole part 2 to the Menagerie there.
Stu's Clusters Addicted to Super Chat says it was Spock's court martial. I think that's what he's saying that episode.
Right, because basically Spock had engineered everything, set up false messages at this point, and they couldn't get off the course to Talos 4. That was all part of it. It had been programmed in there, but they were having the court martial hearing while they were on the way to Talos 4. And then at the end, they find out that it's all a ploy just to get them.
That's interesting because it shows that even early on in the series, in the original series, you still saw Spock kind of breaking rules to get shit done sometimes.
Right.
That's kind of interesting to me that we've seen that from the very beginning from him. So him doing that is not different for his character at all.
I could be mistaken. No. Maybe Mr. Kish here has the knowledge to correct me. That picture you were just showing with the little Fruity Bones pose, their relationship had a lot to do with Spock making these kinds of decisions. Because if I remember correct, there was some sort of mission where someone got hurt or killed, and he made some sort of really cold-hearted, logical decision to like leave the guy behind or leave the body behind. And Bones did not like that, and they fucking fought over it hard. And that kept going. Even as far as the animated series, that little subplot between them kept rolling on.
The episode I think you're talking about, Jim, was called the Galileo 7. And it's where Spock and 6 members of the crew go down to the planet's surface. One of the people gets killed, and that's where we have to bury the black red shirt down there. And another character actor that we've seen in the 60s basically says we have to bury the guy. So then they have problems getting the ship back up. They finally get it back up, but they're running out of fuel. So in a last-ditch effort, Spock says, well, if I jettison the fuel and cause a big flare, maybe they'll see it. And that was a purely emotional and in some ways illogical thing because he was blowing through all of his fuel. It played out and it worked for him. But again, it was something else that was very un-Spock-like because it wasn't considered to be quite as logical a decision to make as maybe it could have been.
Yeah, didn't he like kind of him and Bones? They didn't like really speak about that moment afterwards, but kind of like gave each other a look or something. If I remember,
right? Yep. But Bones looked at Spock, saying, "Hey, it was worth a shot." Oh yes, Scotty saying, "It was worth a shot, lad. It was worth a shot." What are you going to do?
Jesus Christ! With Kish and Charles Whedon around, we could learn everything about the Star Trek. Holy shit!
Yeah, no shit. I mean, this is great.
All I ever watched is Deep Space Nine and Voyager.
I know stuff, but I'm all like, that episode where that this thing happens, right? And then like that one alien, and then first Kirk fucks her, and then Spock's like, that is highly illogical, Captain. And then Scotty runs up and goes, I would walk 500 miles for you, Captain. You see, that's a half of a joke. In Toxic Avenger 4, I wrote the final rewrite for that for Trauma Films. And I had a joke. If you guys see the movie, Toxie is transporting through all these different like TV worlds. But they had him. I can't remember if I wanted a remote control or if I wanted the Dorothy slippers, because I don't remember whichever one they went with is the opposite of the one I chose. But yet he's still transporting to different TV shows, which was what I laid out. So it was really flawed. But anyway, in how they executed it, because they like kind of mutilated my scene there. But there was a part where Toxic Avenger would appear on the Enterprise, and
oh wow, that's wild.
Scotty was butt fucking Kirk, and he was going, and then Kirk was like, yes. Give it to me, Scotty. Oh,
because Kirk is the GOAT.
And then Scotty goes, and I would walk 500 miles for you, Captain. And Spock runs in and goes, this is highly illogical. Give him the Vulcan nerve pinch. And that's when Toxie transports himself away. Obviously, that scene was terrible and should have never been in a film. And it's a good thing they chose not to do that. But yeah, that was so. Yeah,
I'll give you me haggis.
So that was the point of my bad line there. That would have made no sense without that.
Also said,
what does the Stu Cluster say?
Oh yeah, the shuttlecraft could only hold enough people that were alive, low on fuel. But also back here, they stole Pike in the Enterprise with Spock when he was being court-martialed. So that was part of that. Yeah. So then the shuttlecraft could only hold enough people that were alive, low on fuel.
This line, yeah.
You green-blooded and you
that was Bones. Fucking
green-blooded inhuman.
See that.
Come on.
Look, we don't need to go to Kirk's Enterprise to get Bones. Because right now, Kish, I'll spoil a little bit and tell you, Kirk is we get alternate timeline Kirks in Strange New World so far. There's been an episode in each season which somehow members from Pike's Enterprise end up with an alternate timeline version of Kirk. And that's one of them.
That's
this girl La'an gets, some sort of weird time travel thing, and she ends up on a different Enterprise that's captained by him in a different timeline. So it's Kirk, but it's not Kirk. It looks like him, but he acts a little different. But he still has the charm of Kirk. And
never born on Earth, etc. But we don't need Kirk's Enterprise to have bones, because M'Benga is on Kirk's Enterprise the entire time. You know who M'Benga is, Richard Kish?
No, I don't. I'm an African character.
He is from the original series. You only saw him. There you go. He's the guy second to. He's next to the lesbian
blue
haircut. Who
second
she's not a
red,
lesbian, by the way. She's a heterosexual woman. So
he was in the original series, though. He was a doctor in the original series.
He's
too.
on the
and
ship
he was a black guy
entire time.
Oh, you're right. Oh, wow. Good.
But
call,
he steps
man.
down as the head and lets McCoy become the head.
Right.
So
right.
there must be a period of time where McCoy is his
crossed over.
What's the opposite of superior? Inferior, but that's not the right word.
His protege.
No, his guy, his second in command.
Right.
You can bring McCoy in, and now we can have some young McCoy and Spock interactions and build on that. That'd be great.
Now, who was the doctor in the original pilot? The white guy. That wasn't Bones.
Oh, the older guy.
We
I
don't
was
talk
just
about
watching that. I don't know who that was. I'm not sure.
We don't mention him.
Don't mention it.
He's
at
a
all.
fucking anomaly that we don't want to look. We don't. Yeah. Let's see. Who is he? Doctor in the pilot of Star Trek.
Dr. Anomaly.
You can probably share it.
Phil Boyce. He was played by
Philip
John
Boyce.
Hoyt. I guess not the same John. Oh, no, I'm thinking of John Voight. Duh. Yeah, that's it. Let's see. Something about an alternate reality counterpart. I don't know what this
Interesting.
means. But yeah, that's who he is. If I come up with anything else, I'll let you guys know.
Now, I'm going to ask you guys a question. Based on today, back in the day, they couldn't accept it because they couldn't make number one a woman at this point. But pilot per pilot, to compare The Cage with Where No Man Has Gone Before, as far as a pilot episode, which one do you think is the better episode? I happen to think The Cage was a better concept, and it was great for a pilot episode because of the imagination that was involved with it. But that's one man's opinion. Which pilot?
Like I said, I just watched it, and it was great, actually. Where Pike is sort of like questioning himself, and then goes to that planet and has that experience, and is like, "What the fuck?" I'm not sure, because I'd have to watch them a few more times. My father was way into the original series. He was a kid when it came out and all that, and he was way into it in the 70s and had all this. He even made VHS tapes where the first movie, the original movie, Star Trek, the movie, had an AI in it. And there was also an episode of the original series that had an AI. It was a satellite. It was a robot that came in, and Kirk had to do his whole illogical, like, whatever to screw up its brains.
There was sterilize. I remember that. Yeah. And it wipes Uhura's mind. So she goes back to being like a baby again, so they have to re-educate her. I remember that.
Shit.
And
Uhura.
Uhura, yeah. Well, Scotty gets killed. I forget how they revive him, but the thing, Scotty goes to attack it at one point. He goes, hits it with some sort of a beam and kills Scotty. I don't remember how Scotty comes back, but
so he had a VHS tape that had that episode and then the movie right after it. It had the Khan episode of the original series and then Wrath of Khan. It was hilarious. I would watch it and be like, this is kind of funny,
Well,
he was way into that, but
it's great that they got Montalban back, because could you picture anyone else doing Khan? No, you couldn't picture anyone else doing that role. But I remember watching the show with my old man on Thursday nights back in '66. Like, I was 8 years old, so I remember vaguely. But I remember watching first run episodes of the original series with the old man. Yeah,
66 is when it started.
66.
So my dad was 8 years old as well. So yeah, you're the same age.
Your dad was born in '58.
Yep.
Oh wow. Okay. I'm old enough to be your father. Jesus Christ! Don't go there, Luke. Do not fucking go
Richard fucked your
I think he was
mother.
22.
Richard
He was
fucked your
22.
mother. You know, I just read the plot for Where No Man Has Gone Before. I had to remember. That's the Gary Mitchell episode.
Oh, Gary Lockwood was. I mean, it's a great episode. Gary Lockwood is brilliant. You know.
I got to say, The Cage is definitely a better story. Sure.
Yeah.
It is. It is. But this is the Star Trek we got.
Exactly. We got Kirk. Yeah.
I think they're kind of two different shows in a way, and we got plenty of those. But I guess as a pilot, I'm gonna give it to The Cage. I just feel like I would rather watch. I would watch both. You know what? Where No Man Has Gone Before is way more charming in a way.
Yeah.
But I'm more into hard
I would agree with that. Gary Lockwood was a good pickup too. They got him before 2001.
So that's that number 2. Is that
Number 2?
the same girl in that episode where no man has gone before?
Number 1 is
number
Majel
1,
Barrett with black hair
in the cage.
In the cage, and basically the networks had a problem with second in command being a woman, so that's why they went to having Spock as second in command with Kirk. In the second pilot.
I bet you that is exactly why they did this. It's got to be. It's sort of like a redemption sort of. Arc
no.
For
if you think about it, Catherine Janeway was kind of redemption for them, first, because Janeway came.
Yeah, but that's just like with the lesbian kisses that they had in that show. I mean, that was early on, and people don't even always remember it. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, but they didn't have Michael Burnham kissing no weird ladies.
Kissing him. The guy that was shaved himself down to become a human, right? Volk. Is he Volk? But I don't have a picture of of who he became.
So these are supposed to be Klingons. God, that's. Ugh.
It really, really was bad. The
terrible.
I watched.
stuff.
I think my dad gave me a burnt DVD of the first season of Discovery. I didn't even watch it at first, but I started to watch it, and that first episode where the Klingons look like this, I kind of went, I don't know, and I didn't watch the rest. I just stopped it right at that point. I was like, yeah.
It's got some really great shit. It's got Saru. It's got Philippa Georgiou. Lorca was fucking great.
Look,
there's two of the great things from that show right there. Going ahead 1,000 years beyond Next Generation and shit. That was fantastic. Seeing where the Federation has gone, exploring new technology and shit. The mycelial network. The fucking
interesting.
tardigrade, like that whole
theories.
other warp drive. There's so much in Discovery that is worth it, but there's so much bad. Just the Kelpian race and the story of how the Kelpians got the Starfleet. There are some of the best things in all of Star Trek are in Discovery.
Yeah.
Doesn't make it the best, but it does have some of the best stuff.
It's a long storyline. You have to watch everything in sequence to get what's going on. It's
still
not
not finished
episodic.
season 2. That's how much I hated it.
But I was looking up these pictures today, and then I was like, dude, I kind of want to watch Discovery again. I got the itch for it. I went, you know what? There were some interesting moments. I kind of, I want to dig back into it a little bit and see. Oh wait, no, not. Oops. Anyway.
Yes, we are live, Dominic Sin. We are live, but we're about to be ending soon. We're reaching.
We're pretty close to being done. And,
hello, Dominic.
Man. One more. That's right. The other question
Dominic.
was...
Hello, Dominic's lawyer. That's something everybody does on the internet now, right?
Hi, Dominic. Hi, Dominic's lawyer. Hi,
right,
Stevie. Hi, Stevie.
Wrong show. Cut that.
Show me the money.
Oh,
show me the money.
Star Trek doesn't sell tickets.
My woman was watching Jerry Maguire the other day in the living room, and I had to lecture her about it. I was like, you realize people don't actually just sit down and watch this movie. They purchase the DVDs out of irony and they burn them in large piles, or they mail them in bulk to their friends, like as pranks. You don't actually watch Jerry Maguire. You play Frisbee with it.
You rent Jerry Maguire. You never own Jerry Maguire.
You don't own Jerry Maguire. Jerry Maguire.
So the
owns
last
you.
question is, which species would you like to be if you could be any one of them?
Oh, interesting.
And just so
From
you
the
know,
Star Trek universe.
just so you know, whatever species that you pick, we are going to turn it into a woman, and then we are going to ask.
Do you wanna kiss an alien girl?
Well, do you?
Wanna love an alien girl?
Who doesn't?
Touch an alien girl? Do you
Oh, yeah.
wanna have a space baby?
I got enough of those, but woo, if I can get in space.
Ask the
If I
question
become
we
the
always
father-
ask: would Charles Whedon fuck you? So, if you become the father of Charles Whedon's space baby, what are you about to say there, Luke? What? Anyway, Mr.
Could I
Kish,
be,
what
if I was
aliens-
its guardian, could I get into space? Could I be on a spaceship with it? I mean, that's the,
Oh my
I mean,
fucking God.
Yes. Okay, let's just say yes. Richard Kish, what species of alien would you be in Star Trek lore so that Mr.
I'll
Whedon
probe
could make
them.
love to you? You can leave out the second part. Just what species would you like to be?
What, based on turning into a woman?
No. Like I said, Charles Whedon, your orifices are safe from Mr. Whedon. He'll be on the other. He'll be in the Gamma Quadrant. You'll be in the Alpha, but that doesn't mean that's where you're from. So he will have a galactic restraining order. You're safe.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe based on the women. I don't know. Maybe Vulcan.
No, you don't have to be a woman. He wants to.
No. Based on having to look at their
Oh,
women.
having to look at their women. Okay.
Yeah. T'Pol was a looker.
What about the blue
All
ones?
right.
Yeah, she had them titties.
Man.
I did like those titties.
And if you saw
a
her,
lot of Vulcans are very thin, so you
Yeah.
could find a thin one. They're very controlled, so
Do we
Want
count the
some have-
robot
are
women? We
developed,
never
some aren't.
decided that last time.
robot women.
Yeah, like the ones that Kirk is always messing with. Because they always had very nice, like, pointy titties.
Robot women? You mean like Harry Mudd? Harry Mudd's women?
Was all of his women
Just took a
robots?
picture of that. Damn it! Damn it!
But yes, like Harry Mudd's women.
What?
Basically, all those women on Star Trek, because you know they had big bushes and.
Well,
had
Yeah.
the outfit.
the android.
Do you wanna kiss an alien girl? Do you wanna love an alien?
See that?
I
That
was
the
like,
android one.
is that an accident? Because I didn't fucking. So what about that, Luke?
That was the android one from the old series
Ah.
we're talking about. Like,
Yes.
the nice
Do those count? Because I
Bazinga.
would. Well, no, then I'll just be a human. Can I just be me and fuck those aliens?
I guess so. You're Kirk. Yeah.
Yeah. Wait a minute, Kish. You could fuck
You're Jim.
any species.
Damn it.
You don't have to like be a
Jim.
Vulcan to fuck a Vulcan.
Yeah, this is true. Hey, the Orion slave girls, they were kind of.
I want to be a Q.
You can't be a Q. I was the stipulation was no Q and no shapeshifters because come on, you're pretty much a god at that point.
Yeah, exactly. Or you're.
I want to be Whoopi Goldberg.
Oh God, you want to be a
That
guy?
thing.
Get inside my black
God.
hole.
You want to be huge like Grimace?
I want to be.
Oh, the shake was amazing. It was very good. It
Jumping-
sort of tasted a little bit like blueberry and a little bit like blue raspberry. It was like a
You
mix
piece
of
of
that.
shit.
It was a
Yeah.
purple shake, right? Like
You just
purple like
ruined my
Guinness?
Jumpin' Jack fucking Jumpin' Jack Flash reference, and I just ruined it too. You son of a bitch.
It's a gas.
That's a gas.
Well, what's the opposite of gas?
Yeah.
It's the brakes.
Yeah.
And someone just hit the brakes on this truck.
All right, yeah, I think
Rolling to the
I mean,
end.
well, yeah, so a Vulcan or anything else? Klingon, Vulcan? No, you
chose
won't
Vulcan.
look at
He's
Klingon
stuck.
girls.
He's stuck with those
He's
women
stuck.
who every time he tries to fuck them, they're going to just throw a logical fallacy at him why he can't do anal. And then when he tries anyway, they're going to Vulcan nerve pinch him. So it's going to be that might be fun.
See, I cheated anyway. I said I wanted to be half Vulcan, half Beta Z, so maybe I'd have like powers
Oh
and I'd be
wow,
very
yeah,
strong.
you'd be very telepathical.
That's an interesting. Have we had any
Live for
other
years.
Vulcan half breeds in Star Trek besides Vulcan human?
Spock.
No, I mean like besides what Spock is, like besides a Vulcan human mix, a Vulcan Andorian,
yes,
a Vulcan.
yes. I think the baby died, but at the very end of Enterprise, supposedly it was Trip and T'Pol.
Oh,
that was
wow.
another Vulcan human. Yeah.
That was the only other Vulcan human that I can think of at this point.
And
It
if
was
that
a
baby died, that'd be crazy. If it didn't, they need to make a story about that baby.
Why have they never made a Vulcan Klingon? That seems kind of nice. Like,
Have we had any Klingon half breeds?
Vulcan Klingon would be a smart warrior.
Yeah, we've had human Klingon. Worf's.
Take that
the
down,
mother-
producer.
Baby mama. The baby mama of Worf is half human. There's also.
That's right.
Wait a minute. There were individuals that were half Klingon and I believe half. Was it Cardassian or Romulan? Where in the Next Generation, Worf hears that there's some weird colony, and there's people that are mixed there that are Klingon and something else, and I think it is Cardassian.
Right.
Actually, the Cardassians might have captured certain people or something.
Yeah, that's right. Alexander Roshenko, who is Worf's son, was a quarter human because his mother was
Quarter
half.
human.
And then you've got B'Elanna Torres, who's half. She's half human.
Yeah, she's half human.
Klingon.
Yep.
And I'm trying to think if there's anybody.
Spock's half
there's
human.
another alien on Voyager. Naomi Wilder. Naomi Wilder, girl with the little horny thing sticking out of up and down her head.
Yeah,
because her mother is human, but her father was this other race supposedly, and we never find because they're stuck. We never see who he is, but she's half and half. So I'm trying to. Can you think of any other half breeds?
Need to mix
from
more
Star
of
Trek
them,
history.
man. Damn half breeds anymore.
Damn half breeds. I can't think of any others.
I'm only learning the names of all the different species from this show, Alpha Podrants, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And by the way, J.B. Floyd, I think he got it picked. Kish would be a tribble.
Trimble?
He means tribble.
An army of tribbles.
Trumble with Trimbles?
Romulan prison camp that had survivors from Kittimer.
Wow, Stu's into it, man. All right, Stu. Yeah, Romulan, the not too distant relation of the Vulcans. Now, Charles, how long ago did the two of them split? Any idea?
What split?
Romulans and Vulcans, they came from the same bloodline, supposedly.
Yeah. Crap.
I know nothing about that end of
It's
it.
like 1,000 years ago or something.
No. It was prior to the Vulcans accepting logic, and the Vulcans accepted logic thousands of years prior to the current place of Star Trek. I think it was more than 1,000 years. I think it was closer to 2,000 years.
Okay.
And the Romulans split off from the Vulcans prior to that.
Gotcha.
And it was so far back that the Vulcans either don't talk about it or they don't even remember.
Right,
Because before we even knew about the Romulans in Star Trek, not even the Vulcans knew about the Romulans.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the Vulcans didn't know. So when the Romulans were first revealed and the Vulcans became aware of them, even the Vulcans were surprised.
Oh.
Yes, in the original series, because of the way they looked exactly like Vulcans, and they were kind of like, Kirk and Spock kind of look at each other like, what? This is weird. This is because you hear about them, I believe, for a couple of episodes before you get the reveal. And there's obviously that awesome episode that got a reflection in Next Generation where Kirk is it just him alone possibly that has to go to the Romulan ship and take the cloaking device and has to rip it out and then bring it over and try to gives it to Scotty to integrate into the Enterprise system. And in in the Picard series, one of the episodes, they end up taking a cloak from a Klingon ship to put in their ship at the time. Was that which ship was that?
Yeah, Stu's correct.
709's ship.
Mark Lenard played a Romulan in the original series,
and he played a Klingon as well in something.
And funny thing about me being a Star Trek fan, I actually did not know what the Romulans looked like. I had heard about them, but I did not know what they looked like or anything about them until Star Trek Nemesis.
They're just spoon-headed Vulcans.
Yeah, I had no idea what they looked like or anything like that until that movie. Where at the beginning of the movie, we go to Romulus and we see the Romulan Council, and I'm like, wait a minute, these aren't Romulans, these are Vulcans. And like, oh.
Fooled
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Speaking of Romulans and Vulcans, that's another great thing Discovery brought to Star Trek. Maybe arguably, but Navarre, right? That's the name of it.
Yeah, Navarre,
right.
Which my theory about that name is that the reason why they changed it from Vulcan to Navarre is they took a Vulcan word and a Romulan word and they fused it together.
Well, that would make sense. Right. So it was Romulus that was destroyed?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, Romulus was consumed by the blast of a supernova in the Hobus star system.
And the same thing happens to Vulcan in the Abrams one? No, that's Khan who does that, right?
No. Khan doesn't do it. It is Nero that does it.
Nero, okay.
Yeah.
The one that created that timeline, technically.
Yeah, Nero created the timeline, and he dropped a little ball of red matter in the center of Vulcan, which created a singularity that consumed the planet. And Vulcan was destroyed as a result.
But the Romulans have a lot of that singularity technology throughout some of their shows. Like I believe they run their entire ship with a singularity. They create a black hole and try to contain it.
Powered by that?
Yeah, I believe so. That's what they find out at some point. Like, what the hell? You got to keep that thing contained, otherwise, you may turn into a nice giant black hole wherever you are.
Whoopi Goldberg.
Here's another question that Charles might be able to answer, or anyone else. Why were cloaking devices outlawed in Starfleet?
Oh, that is actually not. That's actually not up to Starfleet themselves. Starfleet wants to use cloaking technology, but they can't because it's by order of the Romulan Star Empire. There is a treaty that was signed between the Federation and the Romulan Star Empire that if the Federation develops cloaking technology, that peace treaty is null and void, and the Romulans will go to war.
Okay, so
the only reason why the Klingons have cloaking technology is because they stole it from the Romulans. in order to prevent the Federation from developing the cloaking technology, the Romulans took the initiative and created that treaty to prevent the same thing from happening again.
Now I'm sorry, go on.
We do find out that in DS9 with the Defiant.
I was just going to mention that. Yeah,
the thing is,
the only ship they use a cloaking device.
They put the cloaking technology on the Defiant, but they did that with the permission of the Romulans. They got
because there was a Romulan officer on the bridge with them, controlling it.
Right. And the only reason why they were even able to do it was because of special circumstances that was brought on by the Dominion War. That's it.
Yes. They went, hey guys, this Dominion might come take over all of our quadrants. So how about we need to come together on this one?
Yeah, that was the only reason they were able to do it. And I think the Defiant is the only ship in Starfleet that has cloaking technology.
Only to be used in the Gamma Quadrant.
Only to be used in the Gamma Quadrant. Yeah, that was also one of the terms.
Well, then they break the rule right away, because I was just going to say they show up and they say, we feel there's some sort of anomaly out there, and then it decloaks and like, what is this shit?
Oh yeah, because
it's a Federation
Cisco breaks
ship.
rules all the fucking time.
Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah.
Oh, let's just cloak it when we fly in. It'll be hilarious.
Yeah. Cisco is the honey badger of Starfleet. He don't give a shit. Yeah.
That damn honey badger.
You got to say it right, though, Charles.
I know. I kind of fucked that up. Cisco don't care. Cisco don't give a shit.
That's good enough.
Yeah, I know. I kind of
You
fucked it
Could
up.
have used more of a
lift.
lift.
Didn't
Should
I?
have been like, Cisco don't care. Cisco don't give a shit.
Cisco don't care. He doesn't even give a shit. Look at him. Just look at him punching Q in the face. Look at that. Oh my god.
Oh my god, that is one of my favorite Cisco moments. It's like he punches Q in the face and Q falls to the ground, looks at Cisco, it's like, you hit me. Picard never hit me. And then Cisco just looks at him and says, I'm not Picard. And I'm like, oh yeah, you are not Picard and I love you for it.
Well, I look forward to that moment now. That sounds exciting.
Yeah. Oh man, I love that. I love that episode. That episode was great.
I feel Jim's a little left out.
I will.
Sorry,
no.
All right. I'll ask each of you. I'll ask each of the same question. I'll start with Jim this time. Favorite episode, any series of any of the series that your favorite episode, and maybe why it's your favorite.
I am bad at this, and
you're bad at this.
We did this last week, and I couldn't come up with an answer.
Oh, all right. Well,
I came up with a few vague ones. But then over the week, I seen an episode that reminded me it was one of my favorites, and I forgot. I wanted to talk about it. I was going to bring it up the last episode, didn't, and now today I forgot. I can't remember. I'll have to think about that. So go on to one of these guys, and I'll come up with one. I'm bad.
All right, we'll do Lucas next.
Oh, by the way, Farpoint was one of my answers, Kish.
Farpoint, yeah.
Farpoint.
It's one of my.
Oh, right.
4 lies.
That's God. That was with Warner as the Cardassian, the British actor Warner, David Warner.
David Warner. Wow.
Fucking. That's definitely in my top 3 or 4 episodes. Absolutely,
Intense
that was a great
episode,
and that was yep.
What an introduction to the way that Cardassians can be.
Exactly.
Because you see them there is an episode before that where I believe Cardassians are on the bridge, and actually the same guy who played Garrick was in that episode. And the Cardassians had a weird tuft of like hair underneath their chin or something. It was a little bit different.
Right, a little bit different.
And but then the 4 Lights episode, I can't remember the name of it,
I'm
but
glad you
Chain of
remember
Command
that.
2? No.
That's a great episode.
But yeah, you just see the brutalness. And then when you go into DS9 with that knowledge, you're like, oh yeah, I kind of remember these guys, like as the interrogation, and oh yeah, these guys are terrible, and they're one of the new baddies, and then they just get just the depth they go into with the Cardassians and the Bajorans and the tightness between them, it's incredible. That's one thing that's cool about DS9. They completely build those civilizations right in front of you.
Okay, Mr. Whedon.
What's my favorite episode
of any of the series? If just like I said, there was just one episode of any of the series you've watched that hits you in particular.
Okay. Was it this past like Alpha Podrants episode where I mentioned the Quickening?
The Quickening.
Yeah, Highlander.
Well, the thing is, the Quickening is an episode I always fall back onto in DS9 because it's a Bashir centric episode. But this time I'm not going to go with that episode. I'm going to go with an episode in season 1 of DS9.
Really?
It's called Duet.
And what was the premise?
The premise was that Kieran Reese finds a suspected Cardassian war criminal named Gul Darhe'el.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Harris Yulin, and the actor Harris Yulin.
He was great.
Yeah, and just great.
Great. Yeah.
That episode like I'm even thinking about his monologue, and it's giving me fucking goosebumps right now.
He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant in that, and I remember
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
they
just like
find out that they think he's someone else, but then they find out he has a certain disease, and he must have been at a certain internment camp or
it's a
concentration
Galatep,
camp.
the Galatep labor camp, camp. Yeah.
And and
He's
she's like, you were there and you're brutal, and then finds out he's actually like someone that was big and in charge or whatever, and
then he gets killed.
Throughout the episode, they find out that he's actually not Goldar Hill. They find out that he's actually a file clerk named Maritza, who is pretending to be Goldar Hill,
right,
because he feels he needs to be punished for all the atrocities that the Cardassians have done. So he's taking the blame for the actions of his people. And when Kira finds out about that, she actually tries to comfort him and say, "Look, it's not your fault," and all that. I mean, it was a really powerful fucking episode. And then when they let him go, there was a Bajoran that like still suspects him of all those crimes, walks up behind him and stabs him in the back. He dies instantly. And Kira's like, "Why did you do that?" And he says, "He was a Cardassian. What other reason do I have?"
Exactly.
And she's like, "No." And then the rest of the episode continues. It was just like, oh man, every time I get to that episode, it is an absolute pleasure to watch.
Oh yeah. Good call. That was a good episode.
Yeah, I freaking love that episode.
Yeah.
I mean, most of DS9's episodes are amazing. There are a few that are a little rough to get through, but most of the show's episodes are great.
And it's ironic that you all picked episodes from DS9. If you were going to ask me, the one that I would pick is also a DS9 episode. It's the one where Avery Brooks becomes the writer. They all go into characters outside of their costumes. That was
Under the Pale Moonlight.
Yeah.
One of the only episodes I've ever seen of that series.
No, that was the other one.
But that's Brooks's favorite episode also, because he's a black writer. He can't take a black person can't be a captain on a space station in space, and he was brilliant in that. I mean, he was brilliantly cast as his character, and that episode was just the epitome of his talent. He was they were all great in that episode. That was they all showed the what range they had. That was the beauty of it.
Yes, completely different characters, all of them in the writer room together. Odo was the head of the writing room, like whatever the editor or whatever he was, and seeing Quark without or Armin Shimmer there without his makeup on, even Gul Dukat, it was great. I love that one.
And they had Mark Alamo and Jeffrey Combs with a Crooked Cops.
Far Beyond the Stars.
They were, I love that episode.
Yeah, it was great, but no, it's just like, let's see. I mean, man, I could talk about DS9 episodes all freaking day. But there is one collection of episodes that always stuck out with me, and they were what I would say, quote unquote, comedy episodes. The Ferengi episodes.
Oh yeah, and the very first Ferengi episode that had what's her name from Second City as Moogie as
okay, so that's who she was.
Andrea Martin as Moogie, as their mother. She only did the one episode. Moogie. They replaced her with some other actors who did a great job of imitating her, but Andrea Martin did the very first episode as Moogie, and she was she was great. Yeah.
My favorite my favorite Ferengi episode is actually one of the later ones where they are on not Terraknar. What is the other one? The other like space station, the one that's like tilted. That one where they're doing the prisoner exchange, and they end up like all the Ferengis are trying to do the prisoner exchange, and they're arguing on what to do next. They accidentally fire the phaser. They shoot the Vorta, and the
Oh
Vorta
yeah,
just
that's the
stands
one with.
there like with a gunshot in his chest.
Yeah, that's the
They
one
were
with
fo-
Iggy Pop, right? Iggy
yeah,
Pop
and
plays the Vorta.
yeah,
It was
they end up
hilarious.
focusing on the Vorta's face, and he just says, "I hate Ferengi."
Yes.
Here comes Johnny and the girl
And Pak Nor,
with
that's
liquor
it.
and
That's
And
right.
Pop
drugs.
Nor.
In a
Yeah, but no, it's just
tea.
the Ferengi episodes were
He's
great.
gonna
Yeah.
do another striptease.
Iggy Pop,
Fucking
yeah.
Luke.
That was great.
By the way, I did remember that one TOS episode that I had watched that happened to be one of my favorites as well. You fat piece of shit.
Which one?
He's drunk. He's drunk. By any other name, he's singing. He's singing.
He's drunk on
This is what a
life.
captain does.
He's drunk on life.
A captain sings.
The captain sings.
Shit.
So what's your episode of the
I
original
wish he'll
series, Jim?
stop. I wish he would stop. By any other name, the one with the Kelvins, where like Kirk has to get the one guy, and the lead. The Kelvins are like some race of aliens who think they're better than everybody. They were found marooned on some planet. It's season 2, episode 22. Let's see.
Is it the hippie episode where they're singing and stuff?
No, fuck
No,
yourself.
that's Eden. Oh
Fucking
God,
singing.
That-
Thinking that is.
James Duden didn't have enough bad words for that particular episode. He said, "What a ridiculous episode that was."
Oh,
Not happy. Oh yeah. Yay,
It's
brother.
the one where Scotty is getting the guy drunk, the Kelvin engineer. He keeps getting him drunk and keeps
Oh, yeah,
pulling more
yeah, I
and more
remember that.
alcohol. And then Spock has to sort of like logically trick them. So each
Right,
member
right.
of the team has to trick these Kelvins who have taken over the ship. And that one was always a memorable standout for me. So
There were
there's your
plenty of original series
your
episodes that were memorable. Absolutely.
there was another episode that was kind of like that in Next Generation where I believe Picard goes off with one of these aliens in a shuttle, and they crash, and some weird thing happens, and then each person that's with one of the guys, like one goes with Worf, and he tries to piss Worf off, and then the other one goes with Deanna Troi, and this one tries to like just eat as much like ice cream and shit as he can. It's like all weird. They're just putting them in these weird situations. They're just like studying them, you know. And they have fun episodes like that. I wonder if they're gonna get one of them in Strange New Worlds, because they are doing interesting little homages to all the different types of episodes that you can have, which is great about that episodic thing that they're doing. I love it.
The one thing that I liked about the original series also is they got honest to goodness science fiction writers. I mean, DC Fontana, cut her cloth there. She did a lot of writing for that series. And City on the Edge of Forever was I can't think of the science fiction writer's name, but hello.
Oh, what happened?
What
Jim
happened?
left.
Jim left.
Oh
He
shit!
jumped out.
He jumped out.
I was trying to go back to tell you the name, but I hit the wrong button.
Harlan Ellison, I just remembered. Yeah.
Good.
Bam.
I had to think about it for a second.
That's another thing I love with the original series, the titles of the episodes. They're all like
Exactly.
poetic.
Yeah.
They tried to with TNG. Did they keep up with that? Because I don't feel they are. They're kind of getting back to it in Strange New Worlds, but they're being a little more cheeky. It's like half poetic, half cheeky.
I can see that.
Deep Space Nine, were their titles Beneath the Pale Moonlight or shit like that? I guess they kept with the poetic themes.
Something like that. Yeah. Voyager, they were very simple. They didn't get too crazy. 1 or 2 words. They didn't get any phrases or anything like that. Tuvix.
I feel like
whatever.
Voyager was trying to bring in a younger audience or something. It was trying to change it a little bit, make it a little more accessible to other people, not as technical,
Yeah.
I think.
I'll give them credit. It was a series where they basically were starting with a clean slate, and they had to come up with new aliens, new everything at this point.
Which
It
was
brings up-
cool,
Yeah, it brings up an interesting point because you watch YouTube and there's so much crap on Star Trek. It's ridiculous. And they were saying for Voyager, if you
great!
look at
Thanks, Richard Kish.
what?
So much. We're part of that crap. No, we're not.
I know.
No,
No,
we're not even close to part of that crap.
Way adjacent to it.
We wish
But-
we were part of that crap.
But back to Voyager. The trip they took to get back, they went basically Delta Quadrant and they went beeline to get back to the Alpha Quadrant. The question was, what another alternative would have been they could have gone to the Gamma Quadrant and taken the wormhole to Deep Space Nine, and it would have been less mileage. Why didn't they do that?
I have read that theory, actually, that something like they could have done it in like 10 months or something like that. Also,
I'm not sure that they knew exactly where the wormhole let out at that time. I don't know.
Well, no, Voyager would have been after Deep Space Nine. Like I said, if you're following a timeline, it's after. So Deep Space Nine was an entity. The wormhole stable was an entity. So everyone knew about that. That was a theory that someone had, there are a lot of British people that are into Star Trek lore. It's great. There's a ton of stuff on YouTube about it. But this one guy was talking about that. How come they didn't take and do Gamma and do wormhole over? Because they would have saved, 10 years or more, 10, 15, 20 years based upon. You'd have to check the mileage. I don't remember what the difference in the mileage was between it, but it was a shorter distance.
Definitely a few more parsecs.
Yeah, hey, man. It all adds up after a while. You can't plan on having old Janeway coming back through time to take and help you get home. They got lucky. Hey.
Yeah, there was interesting shit how they like the transwarp stuff.
Transwarp
with the Borg
hub.
and-
Yeah, the transwarp hub. Yeah.
there's another theory about with warp drive that Voyager basically they weren't that far away because the way the stars move outside, you can pretty much go across the whole fucking galaxy or whatever in no time, in under a year or something like that.
It's wild that what started off really as a plot point, just like transporters, was a way to take out filming expensive shuttle scenes on every episode. They could just take and go blink and go from A to B. But warp technology was something that was made up. But it, like I said, something that turns out to have some sort of a significance behind it, where you're not basically moving the object, you're moving the space around it. And nobody knew what the hell that was back. Like I said, just
creating a bubble, and then increasing the gravity behind you and decreasing it in front of you, whatever it is. All that kind of. And well, they always did employ the latest scientists who had the latest information and what was going on at the time. So there was someone who was theorizing close to that, and they said, all right, that's how we're going to do it. You're the guy with the knowledge. And that's what's funny about like the techno babble, where they have to employ people who can actually write it where it kind of makes sense if you were going to try to apply it to real world.
Yeah. Sometimes when you're predicting technology, sometimes you guess and you guess right. I mean, you look at communicators looking like cell phones. There was an episode where Spock is throwing these things that are supposed to be disks into a computer. They look like the old 3.5-inch floppy disks. Yeah. Like I said, it's coincidence. Sometimes it happens that way. View screens.
I can't wait till we have
whatnot.
synth bodies.
Yeah.
That's one thing they came up with.
Hey, Kurzweil says we're just at this point like 7 years away.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, my lifetime.
From the singularity?
Jesus Christ. Nice.
Thanks, CERN.
Not the singularity.
All right, I think, we've come to the point where, man, we're almost 2 hours in. So this is the longest Alpha Podrants, I believe.
Really?
And it was awesome, dude. It was awesome having you here, Kish.
Hey, it was
a wealth of knowledge
here,
about this subject. We'll definitely have you back sometime. And, man.
Appreciate that.
Anytime.
Yeah, anytime. You want to get in the chat.
Look at him like he's a big boy. Like he's a big boy. We'll have you back sometime. We'd be honored to have Richard Kish back anytime he
Thank
chose
you. I
to
would be honored
back.
to be back.
That's just how you say it.
Christmas.
I mean, I'm just trying to be cool, man. Damn.
No,
I'm so sensitive. Now you've upset me.
You're born. Listen, you were singing.
Luke, if you can stay this happy, I'll come back. You say this.
All right,
happy, I'll come back.
I'll try to stay this happy all the time, everybody.
There
Just
you
keep
go.
buy me some gummies, maybe. No. Thank you, everybody. Alpha Podrants. Hold on. We will live long and do the thing.
We
that
will
like to
not
do
fucking kiss each other.
sometimes.
Oh man.
We
nah.
will be live long and scissor. Live long, everyone.
We taught Anthony Cumia how to do that.
In scissor. Yeah, I taught him in a call. Thank you. We'll be back next week.